Hi, my name is Johann Schneider. I'm super excited to be here as a mentor for Hack for Future. I hope you guys are having a nice time already in Australia. I'm based in Uppsala, Sweden, so I'm joining from a distance. I'm a software developer at the telecoms company Ericsson in Stockholm. So I've been working there as a C and C++ developer for the last 2 years. But recently, I've been working on a React project. So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about today. So, so this won't be a super in-depth introduction to React or React Native, but what I wanted to talk about was some development tools that can kind of help you guys in a hackathon kind of rapidly prototype some of the ideas that you can have for some of the cases. But just as a quick overview, if some of you have heard of React, React is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. That's really nice to kind of understand that React is not a programming language itself. React is not a framework, but it's just a library for describing user interfaces. So if I have a user interface that I want to model, I can use React to do that. So built on top of React is a project called React Native, and this is for mobile development. If people talk about React Native, they're talking about being able to develop in JavaScript some code that can run on, for example, an Android phone and an iOS phone. So that's pretty fun if you're in development and you realize it can take a lot of energy to like natively develop an iOS app and an Android app. A lot of companies do that. They have, two separate teams to, pretty much make the exact same application on two different platforms. But if you make the design choice to use React Native, well, actually, you just maintain one code base. And with that, you have some restrictions. Maybe you won't be able to have all of the functionality that you would if you were doing native development for like platform specific application. But that being said, there's really a lot of stuff you can do with React Native. So that brings us to a tool called Expo. And Expo is an open source project. Um, what Expo is, it's really a collection of development tools. So the team here have built on top of React Native. We're using React Native. They've built some products that can help for really developing things quickly. Um, what I mean by that is React Native can kind of be a little cumbersome to get started with. There's a lot of setup and like to set up a whole development environment just to start using React Native. I mean, that in itself can take a week and to decide all of the design choices for how you want your app to look like and be. It can it's a lot of overhead. So what Expo is really great at, I think I can move my bubble over here. Um, what Expo is really great at is just being able to say, okay, I just want to download this download Expo as a npm package. So you download it through npm, and you can get this command line client, which can really just help you with a lot of aspects of setting up projects. Here, so if we kind of start at step 2, we can download Node.js. And then once we've downloaded Node.js, we have this command npm, which if you're familiar with, hopefully you're not terrified of. But you install this package called Expo CLI, which is the command line interface. And once you do that, you can start projects uh, just with these, pretty much with just this one command, expo init, and then whatever your project's name is. Then you can change the directory into the project, so that command will create a directory. And if you type in this command, this is all in command line. Hope you guys kind of got that. With this command Expo Start, what you do is you start a development server on your computer, which it's super cool because if you want to, you can hook up emulators and do stuff all on your computer, or you can use actual mobile devices. So here I have an Android phone, and I've downloaded the Expo client onto the phone. So what you get when you do this Expo Start is you get a QR code that you can scan, and then the application pushes straight to your phone when you scan the QR code, and then you can run it and actually see how it looks on the real phone. And it's super awesome because they also have a client for iPhone. So you can scan the QR code, and then in a really short period of time, you can be prototyping apps and see what they look like on Android and iOS, which is, I think, really fantastic. But before all of that, there's actually a step that there's a tool that Expo has, which is called Snack, which is really great, and it's kind of their first step here. And what a snack is, it's a whole, yeah, React Native development environment just in your web page. So if you're kind of intimidated by downloading npm and installing packages and running command line stuff, it's a really wonderful idea for you during the hackathon to just get started doing some, especially if you haven't worked with React a lot before, or if you're kind of new to programming. This tool Snack is a really just fantastic place for beginners to get some started and some traction. And I personally have been super surprised at how much you can do just prototyping in in a web page pretty much. So we can take a look at this. So here we go. So all I did here was I opened up this try Snack, and it opens you up with a project. Just a little kind of overview of the IDE here, the development environment. Here on the left side, it kind of feels like VS Code, if any of you have worked with that, or other popular text editors like Sublime or Atom. But on the left side, you have your project files that you can make. So here I have an app.js, a package.json, and a README. And if I open those, I can see that they go to my open files up here. Here in the middle kind of main area, you see your text editor. So here is my the app so far that starts off. It kind of gives you a like base project which will run. And then on the right side over here, and this is really cool, we can choose whether or not we want to preview this application on iOS, Android, or web. Sometimes it can take a little bit. You have to get allocated an emulator. But no, I just got one super quick there, so that was great. So what's actually happening is this Android device itself is an emulated Android device, and this application gets compiled and installed and then ran. So if I start to change text in here, I can say, welcome to Hack for Future. And I should see that start to update as I'm typing, which is just this awesome development tool for being able to really quickly itinerate. So here in this application, you can do all the super fun React Native stuff. You can import different packages and make different views and screens. And it's really you can make multiple files. One limitation of this environment here, it's not set up for testing. So if you want to already start to if you have very good habits and want to do test-driven development, this is maybe not the best tool for that. You might have to go through and actually download the command line client. But for just getting started with nothing, this is really good. Another thing you can do here is you can put in console logs, and you can print out variables or strings and say, hello, hack for the future. And then when this runs down here, we can go to the logs, and we can see that log printout right here. Also, if there's any errors, those will also pop up here. And yeah, so this is really great. There's a lot of more options down here. You can, for example, you can turn off this setting where you update as you type. So then if you want to push what you've written to the emulator, you have to click this update now or Control U. That can be kind of helpful because if you're like in the middle of typing something, you can start to see all of these errors pop up, and it's not necessarily errors, but you just haven't finished writing out what you want to write. So then when you finish and then it recompiles and then it's all fine. But if I don't want to deal with that, I can turn off this type as I update, and then I can go in here and break stuff and do things. Also, really similarly, if you click run up here, you actually get this QR code that I was talking about earlier. So then if you, so here I have my Android phone and I can just scan the project. And then I should see that I have a connected device. Down here, I can see that I have 2 devices connected, 3 devices connected. And then on my phone, I actually can see the change that I make. And it's just so amazing to see how quickly these things actually work. So one thing that can be a little tricky with this is, yeah, it can be a little flaky. Things can be a little rough. Sometimes you have to go in here and you have to reload the apps or you have to manually rescan the QR code. But that being said, I think it's a really good tool to use. Also, a really great thing, a reason to use this during a hackathon is I can come in here and I can code and I can click this save button up here at the top. And this is really nice because this will save this to my account. And if I want to share this code with a teammate, I can actually just send them the link. So if I open this up in another private window, so if I send this project that I've worked on to someone else in my team, that person can get access to the code. You don't have to log in. You don't have to worry about making an account. And then this person gets a local copy of the code. So I can say, this is hello, this is a teammate. And when I start, or when my teammate starts editing this, or when someone starts editing it themselves, they can also save the project. And when they save the project, they actually make a local copy for themselves. So this can be a really nice way to share code, because if I work on something and I develop, and then I send this to one of my teammates, and then they work on something, develop, they save, and then they send me back a different link. If they send me back their own link, then I can open their link, and then I can start to code, and then we can share kind of like some very uh, yeah, like a manual version control. You have to be a little careful, because if you're working with 4 or 5 people and you're sending back different projects back and forth, it can be a little confusing. But I think in the context of a hackathon where you really want to do some kind of rapid development, maybe you don't want to spend the time to set up a Git repository and do all of the Git commands, and some people have problems with that. This can be a really nice solution for that. So with that being said, I really think that Expo, if you're looking to develop a mobile application here in the hackathon, Expo is a really great tool to get started and look at with. They have some really, like, just a ton of features, especially down the road. You can also publish your application as an Expo project. So if you want to share your code that you make with friends, you can just have them download this Expo application, and then they can run your application through the Expo app, which is really nice because, in a sense, you can publish your project without having to do all of the overhead, with the Google Play Store or the iOS App Store, both platforms which you have to pay for. So this can be a really nice way to kind of just like get people using your prototype. Um, just taking a quick look at some of their guides. They have a really fantastic getting started section. This is everything that you would need to do for, being able to, make images and make buttons and click on buttons. And even going further, they have things about if you want to, download things from the internet and if you want to display stuff. This is just a really fantastic place to get started if you've never worked with React before. If you have done some React and React Native, the guides really start to show you how practical this tool Expo can be. There's a lot of help that you can get with, I think one of the biggest features they have here is doing push notifications. So you can have Expo manage all of your push notifications and how those work. It really cuts down on the amount of code that you need to actually make that happen. Here you have routing and navigation if you want to have multiple screens and do some things. A really great tool to use with Expo is Firebase. Firebase is a Google platform, which, among other things, you can get like yeah. So Firebase as a bigger project has a smaller project called a real-time database, and a real-time database is kind of exactly what you would need to just keep track of data in an application. Yeah, if you're working on the different cases with contact tracing or uh, the bushfires case, that can be a place where you can have clients save data online and then quickly query that data and then display it. So just as a quick overview, they also have some information on using Firebase here. They also have a lot of other stuff. And then when it comes time to actually, if you want to release or publish, or say you even do, maybe you have a Google Play account and you want to actually publish your application, Expo has tools for building standalone apps that are ready to be uploaded to Google Play and the iOS App Store. So it's a really awesome project that I have found, and I really wanted to share with you guys because I think it's great for being able to do some rapid development prototyping. So I think that does it. Please hit me up on the Discord for anybody like starting to play with this, or if you have any problems. One problem that I usually have with snacks in here, and also with actual the projects, the versions of the different packages that you use are described in this package.json file, and every now and then something here gets out of sync and you have some package version that doesn't agree well with some other things, and that can take a lot of hours to kind of go through if you're over here in your application and you have some error where things are blowing up and you're reading and you don't really know what's going on. Sometimes you're doing everything right here, but there just might be some package versions that don't play well together if you import them, like if you use this automatic importing. So, so with that being said, happy hacking, and yeah, good luck. I hope everyone gets some nice time programming in. I'm looking forward to see the projects and the submissions.